Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. No Dan Morgan tonight, just me riding solo in order to get this one to you guys as quickly as possible. The full-time whistle has just gone at the Emirates. Dan himself is there, which is why he's not joining me tonight on the podcast. I believe he's got a few celebrations and stuff, some other stuff going on in his own life, which he's more than duly entitled to after holding the fort whilst I was away on holiday. So I'm bringing you this match review, the game that was Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 1. The scoreline tells a picture of quite a close game when I think, in fact, it wasn't really, was it? There was a golfing quality between the two sides. I think if we are looking for positives, the scoreline is certainly a lot prettier than I think a lot of us would have predicted it would look like at this stage in the evening. I didn't think we'd get a goal, and I did think we'd concede more than two. So, yeah, I suppose that is a positive. But yeah, for anybody who watched the game, they'll know that there was more than enough between the two sides for Arsenal to come out victors by at least a couple of goals tonight. From a Villa perspective, guys, I thought the team was good. I think, in fact, the starting 11 was pretty much what Dan and I said we would need to have run with before the game. In the preview, we said the need for genuine wide players would be really important, for Leon Bailey, for Emi Buendia to start the game. I think Ollie Watkins was the right striker choice in that regard. I think, in hindsight, maybe Luiz would have been the right starter ahead of someone like Ramsey. And I think when he came on, he did have sort of a positive impact, and obviously aside from the goal, which we'll come on to. But just in the general performance, obviously it's hard to tell in that Villa side, and it's hard to pick out any real good performances. I think one person you can definitely earmark who continues to stand out in what is a really poor side is Boubacar Kamara. And you realise, even in this really poor Villa team, just how important he is, and just what kind of a presence we've been lacking in recent years, what he would have brought to so many different Villa teams, and how things would have been different in so many different games had his presence been there. At points, he's so important to what we do, and I say I almost feel for him. I do feel for him playing in this Villa side, because it's difficult, because he's having to anchor a side which is so lucid around him, which has no real confidence or strategy, and his job of sort of recycling the ball at such a high level, at winning the ball back and offering the ball to teammates with such a vast passing range, has really been inhibited. And he himself seems to carry an air of confidence around teammates that don't, to be honest with you. And that is really remarkable. So he deserves full credit, because despite Villa's pitfalls this season, he's been pretty much consistently excellent. Apart from that, though, not too much. I thought we were overrun in the first half, to be honest with you. We really struggled to get a foot in Arsenal's press and their intensity. We just couldn't match. This narrow midfield was just overloaded time and time again. Xhaka, Martinelli and Tierney were causing so many problems down the wings. And as I said, that tight, compact midfield just couldn't cope with that. There were so many runners coming through, and they were creating so many opportunities. I think it was Saka that had a really good opportunity, particularly in the first half. So it just goes to show that the opportunities were there for Arsenal long before the goal itself. And the goal itself is poor from Emi Martinez. I'm not going to go into too many details, because there are wider things at play than Arsenal's first goal tonight. But I think Martinez will concede that he should have done better for that first goal, to be honest with you. But I felt like we improved a little bit in the second half, that there was a little bit more consistency to our play, that we managed to pick out a claret and blue shirt. It was a black and yellow shirt tonight. Managed to pick out each other a little bit better. Some better patterns of play were sort of slowly starting to creep in. I think we were helped by the inclusion of Luiz, as I said, and stuff like that. And then we have that goal from a corner, which I don't know if to laugh or to cry at that, to be honest with you. It's incredible that Luiz continues to produce it for the third time this season, if you include the one in pre-season. But at the same time, it is almost becoming a genuinely, like, our main port of call when it comes to looking for goals is hoping Luis can manage an Olympico from the corner, which he does duly, and it's remarkable. It really is. But then obviously we go and blow it a couple of minutes later, and it's really poor defending at the back. Matty Cash in particular, I think you can look at perhaps the likes of Konsa, but it is on the fullback that leaves Martinelli in so much space. Matty Cash is so deep. You can see it coming from a mile away when that ball comes in. He sort of stood between the 6-yard line and the goal line, and Martinelli's almost out by the penalty spot. He's got so much time to pick a space. I think Martinez gets a hand to it again, so inevitably he'll feel he should have done better with that one, rightly or wrongly. Any goalkeeper does when they get a strong hand to something like that. But yeah, Matty Cash has to do so much better with that one. But these little instances, and I feel like it with Emi Martinez as well, they feel almost insignificant. They feel like it's just part of a wider issue right now at the football club. And the result feels like that as well, to be honest with you. Don't you think, guys? It feels like I'm softened to this result. I was expecting it. It feels inevitable. It just feels like we're in this position at a club. And look, my position on Steven Gerrard, I'm really not convinced on anything, to be honest with you, in or out. I know that's going to sound crazy, but I just don't know what's out there right now for this football club. Pochettino would be just incredible, but genuinely, how realistic is that? Like, is it worth going through all that again and putting all our eggs in that basket? You look at Pochettino, like we're looking at right at the moment, the fans have sort of written our own shortlist of Rodgers, Pochettino, and Potter, and they're all three. Like I think if some of the top 6 clubs sat their manager today, I'm pretty sure those would be the top 3 managers that end up going for that position. I think we have to be honest with ourselves in that just geographically, we're not an attractive club to go and manage. I mean, Pochettino himself has just left Paris. To come and manage in Birmingham for a side that are really struggling is, we have to be honest with ourselves, not an attractive proposition. Yes, the investment is there. Yes, the rich owners are there. Yes, there's a fantastic stadium and a fan base and a genuinely talented squad. But you can say that honestly for most of the clubs in the Premier League at that point, that there is owners willing to spend, that there is a talented first team, that there is a good fan base and a project there. We're not alone in that sense. It's rare that you can find a club in the Premier League that don't have those values. So we can't pretend that we're sort of some anomaly in the Premier League, this fantasy tale that some manager is just willing to come and pick up. Because why wouldn't Pochettino hold out? If you were him, be honest with yourselves, would you drop everything? You're sat there, you hold all the cards as someone without a job. Do you jump in straight away to Aston Villa, or do you wait? There are so many other jobs in Europe which will inevitably free up bigger jobs than the Villa on the continent in more attractive cities to go and bring a family to and stuff like that. Would you not hold out? I just don't see it. And maybe I'm wrong. And look, guys, I hope I am. I really, really do. But Graham Potter is another one. Why would he leave? Everything is going for him. His Brighton project is reaching new heights. And yes, I know he's Solihull born and everything like that. But this time more than any, it just makes no sense for him to leave Brighton. And I think Brendan Rodgers is so intrinsically tied into the fabric of that football club. And I think everyone realises at Leicester that he's in no way to blame for what's going on at that club. That I think he'll stay there. He is Leicester City at this point. His fingerprints are all over that football club, all over the first team, all over the way that they play football. And I don't think he's going to jump ship at the first opportunity. I think he'll try and stick this through. And so you're just looking at another situation where I don't think there's any outstanding candidates. And for as long as that's the case, I don't see the value in sacking the manager. And so this is the sticky situation in which we're in now. As a football club, we really have to decide what we want to do. It's not the Villa way to just sack managers, but I do appreciate that the atmosphere is such around Gerrard that it's going to be so difficult for him to turn this tide. Looks like another defeat is on the way. I say looks like, it will be another defeat is on the way this weekend against Manchester City. So that's another difficult one. But yeah, guys, it feels really difficult to come and sit here and analyse the game tonight and bring it to you in granular detail, because it does feel like there's so much more at play at the moment. It does feel like this game is just so small in terms of the wider problems that are going on. the wider questions that we have as a fan base, I think is the right way to put it. This game, this defeat, it just feels like one we expected, one that doesn't change anything, and one that those questions still remain. And even as I'm trying to bring you this post-match analysis, questions automatically just go to, okay, so we sack the manager, like where do we go to now? The disconnect is at a real low point. I'm not going to say an all-time low, because it definitely has been lower than this, and I think we would do well to remember that. But it's at the lowest it's been in a little while, for sure. And look, I will forever back Stevie and the boys. For me, the one person I want to be managing the football club, and the one person I want to see do well, is still Steven Gerrard. I would take a revival over any change of manager or anything like that, because that's what I want to happen ultimately at the end of the day. And I think that's what everybody else should want as well. It's much simpler that way. But it remains to be seen. We have an international break coming up, where I think some really interesting decisions will be made based on that game against Leicester. That's the game. I think that's the game where I think this will change, and it will really be on those 90 minutes. I think up until then, it's just, Dan said himself, it's almost free hits, really, isn't it, against Arsenal and Man City, because we're going to lose those games. And I think tonight we've come out of it with a result which will buy Gerrard time. If I'm being honest, I think you sort of look at it as a 2-1. That's what will go down in the history books. Obviously, we know it should have been more than that, as I said at the top of the podcast, but a 2-1 result shows on paper we were in the game, that we got a goal, that we almost took a point. And I know it will be a poor performance, but it's not a 4 or 5-0 that would have severely shortened Gerrard's life at this football club. That may come at the weekend, admittedly, but tonight I think Gerrard's got a result which will get him a bit more favour in the eyes of the board. And you have to remember, they've put a lot of money into this project. There's egos on the line. There's jobs on the line if Steven Gerrard goes. And I'm not just talking about the managers. There's a lot more at play than just sacking this manager. And I honestly think, guys, we could be in this for the long run. I really could. And with that in mind, I think we just have to buy into this project, support the lads as best as we can. I know it's not great right now on the pitch, but we have to just support the boys. We can't turn our backs on them. I know it's not great. I'm not going to come out on here and tell you that players had a bad game or call out people or anything like that, because I feel sorry for those boys. I really do. They're being sent out there and they look so devoid of confidence and a game plan and a strategy. And yes, I know that's the manager's fault, and I've just sat here sympathising with him, but I just find it so difficult to know exactly where the blame stops at this football club. How high do you go with this decision when it's really going bad like this? Where does the buck stop? Is it with Gerrard? Is it with his coaching staff? Is it with the players? Or is it higher than that? Do you go to Purslow and Lang and those kind of guys? I really don't know. And it's for that reason that it feels almost null and void to sit here and tell you John McGinn didn't have a good game tonight, or I didn't think Luca Dean was very good tonight, or how much time do we give Leon Bailey and stuff like that, because it all just feels like they're in a position right now that's very difficult, and I sympathise with them a lot. And I sympathise with pretty much everyone in that dressing room, to be honest with you, because it's sticky times at the moment, guys. It really is. I think that's probably where I'll call it a day, because otherwise I'll just go on for hours and hours. Guys, despite everything with the Villa going on at the moment, your support has been absolutely amazing. Me and Dan have been truly enamored by the amount of views and response and everything we're getting to our videos at the moment, despite the run of the first team, which hasn't always been the case in the past. So it's just been such a welcome surprise. And honestly, when it's been so difficult on a club front, you guys have been honestly the shining light that's been keeping us going at the moment and making us produce this content, because it's not an easy gig at the moment. And I hope that we come to try and give you some positivity, and we come to give you a reason to listen. We're not just going to heap negativity onto you, because we want to give you something positive. We want to try and change perspectives and give you what guys' new way to look at things, because ultimately that's what we hope will keep you guys wanting to come back and stay loyal to us. And so if you have felt slightly, if your mind has been remotely changed by anything I've said tonight, or you agree or disagree with anything I've said, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of that. Let me know down in the comments. Subscribe for more. There will be a match preview for the Man City game, and obviously the review, unfortunately. And then there is that big Leicester game, which we'll be inevitably doing the rounds for. So thank you very much for listening, guys. Sorry Dan wasn't with me tonight. I know you guys prefer it, as do we, when we're a duo, but that's been a little bit hard to come by recently. So yeah, we'll be back as a pairing next time around. But in the meantime, guys, keep yourself very safe, and we'll see you on Friday. Up the Villa.